And welcome. Now let's go to the most pressing issue shaping our society currently, as plenty of tongues have been wagging and statements being made. This morning we turn our focus to a case that has sparked widespread conversation across Nigeria's legal and human rights landscape. The ongoing legal battle of lawyer, activist and public commentator Dele Farotimi. Now, Farotimi, known for his vocal criticism of corruption and judicial malpractice, finds himself at the heart of a legal storm after allegations of defamation brought against him by legal heavyweight Afe Babalola. Earlier this week, or last week, a court granted Farotimi bail to the tune of 30 million naira, but imposed a controversial condition barring him from speaking publicly on the matter. While these developments ensure his temporary freedom, it raises important questions about freedom of expression, judicial fairness, and the role of influential figures in shaping our legal system. To many observers, this case resonates deeply with the state of justice in Nigeria today.
And joining us now to shed light on this case and its broader implications is Hassan Soweto. He's a spokesperson for the Youth Rights Campaign and is also a staunch advocate for human rights and social justice. Soweto has been very vocal critic of the perceived injustice in Nigeria's judicial system. And also joining us is none other than Kabir Akimbolu. He is a lawyer, a legal practitioner, and also human rights advocate as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure for having us.
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
I mean, it's been quite an ordeal and quite a publicized case. So let me start with you, Soweto, and get your reaction on the conditions of bail that's now been imposed on Dele Farotimi, particularly the media ban.
Well, I mean, it's not surprising because don't forget that the whole trial itself was about Dele Farotimi's audacity to expose what he considers the rot in the judiciary, so that the bail condition, while granting him his freedom, is meant to continue to stifle his ability to continue to speak, to those issues. And that's why I think that it's very, very unfortunate. But it's also a pattern of event that we have seen. The 11 people on trial today for treason arising out of the August End Bad Governance protest, Adaraboye Makeleni and 10 others, when they also got their bail at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Similar bail conditions were also imposed on them. They are not supposed to speak to the media and all of that. And I think that it only just shows the whole implications of what the government is doing. The idea is that the right to freedom of speech, the right to freedom of challenging the system, is under severe assault in this country. What we are facing is actually a strategic assault against all of the civil liberties that underpins civil rule in Nigeria. They don't want Nigerians to be able to speak. They don't want us to be able to organize. And we must say no to all of this. And I think that the legal team of Dele Farotimi must find every means, after securing his freedom, to see how they can evacuate some of these very, very terrible conditions, because it doesn't speak well.
Let me come to you, Mr. Kabir. What do you are a member of the esteemed institution, or what do you make of that ban, that media ban,
well,
and also just the follow-up to him paying that?
Well, we have to look at it from different angles. When you talk about rule of law presupposes that no man should be above the law. Everybody must be equal before the law, and the same law cannot or should not apply to the same set of people differently. You understand? So when you have it at the back of your mind, then you will be able to appreciate the point that is all the issues that are at stake. Now, when we look at it from the point of view of the Constitution, we talk of human rights. I'm a human rights activist myself, of note. Now, this human rights activism, these human rights provisions in the law, many people have violated it. Many people have taken it to the extreme. Some people are even nuisance, not people like Rotimi here is one of the earliest in the society. But go to social media. I'm one of the advocates of the fact that we must regulate the social media in Nigeria especially. You understand? The case of Hutus and Hutu in this Rwanda, it's just because the genocide because of fake news. I was in Abuja sometime and somebody said at Bank Road in Ekiti there is a robbery now, they have killed 20 people. And every one of us started calling our people in Ekiti, oh please, it was a lie at the end of the day. Many things like that. We are here now holding this interview. They can tell somebody can just stay outside there and say my brother is in Abuja. So all these things have to be regulated. Now, where your right stops is where the right of others start. You cannot use the instrument or machinery of fair hearing or freedom of expression to talk anyhow, and we must also get it clearly. One, I am not in support of gagging anybody, gagging the press and all that. I'm one of the people that have fought against all this to any extent. However, when we look at the case of Rotimi, for instance, it is an exception. Let me tell you, as a lawyer, even if you look at the case is in 13 series of Nigeria Weekly Law Report, he never participated in that case. I challenge anybody. You know, all this issue of somebody going to the media and blackmailing people. My friend has made his name. You have made your name as a journalist. You have made your name as a journalist. I know you. I know some of the things I can say you can do with what I have read about you. I cannot just say because I go on the social media and say, oh, this is appeal is this. No. You have to do it within the presence of the law. And again, all the fundamental rights granted or guaranteed from Section 30 to Section 46 of the Constitution.
This is in respect to Dele's publishing of the book you're speaking of.
Yes, I'm telling you. Now, from Section 30 to Section 46, you understand? Section 33 to Section 33 yes, to 46, they are all qualified rights. Now, I'm going to where my friend stopped. Now, when you say, when a court has spoken, we cannot comment about it again. We can no longer call it gagging. The court has a right to issue another against the president. When a court can speak and the government is removed in the next minute, he speaks. Whether we like it or not, it's not every time that a court will give a judgment. That we
some clarity here.
Yes.
Some clarity here. So your reference is to Dele publishing his book.
Yes.
Using that as a medium, or he has a, well, let's just use the word called, or following. Following is a better word already. So using that to disparage somebody else's reputation is what you're speaking about.
Yes.
You're likening that to social media currently where people can
yes, exactly.
Now, you're saying it is not gagging because it is in court and could be considered sub judice if you were to speak about it using another medium,
and when
which
court,
is...
Yes, and when a court has spoken, you don't need to agree with it. That is the law.
Regarding that, it not being gagging. Soweto,
you've been, yeah, because you have been having the reaction.
I'm not a lawyer, you know, but I consider myself a citizen of this country who has the benefit, you know, of studying history and knowing what happens in other jurisdictions. And when I talk about studying history, I'm talking about where we are coming from as a nation, because it's also important that we have a balanced approach to things, understanding that everything has implications. This is the 24th year of a civil rule in Nigeria. So that when you begin to have development that acts back to the dark days of military jackboot, you know, authoritarianism, we have to be worried. Because what we are talking about in the matter of Dele Farotimi, it's not about whether what he said in his book is right or not. Many people have not even read the book. It's a question of how, even when you feel insulted, even when you feel that your reputation, my reputation has been damaged by someone, what are the legal resources available to every Nigerian to seek redress? And in the case of Dele Farotimi, we are saying that what is happening is judicial terrorism. That is how I describe it. Don't forget, you know, that the magistrate court that has just granted him this very terrible bill does not even have the jurisdiction over its case. Criminal defamation is not even in the laws in Ekiti. So this is a court that is trying someone over a non-existing crime and has given him a bill that now means that his right to freedom of expression is further taken away. That is what we are talking about now. And alongside all of this, it also has a case at the Federal Court, instituted by the Inspector General of Police. There are about 3 or 4 other civil cases against him, against his book. So this is a man who is facing huge judicial attack. And let me also say this very quickly. I have it on good authority that even this bill that has been given by the magistrate court may not at the end of the day guarantee his freedom. Because there is information that once that bill is perfected, there are plans to rearrest him immediately.
Now this is according to what you've heard.
And then charge him at another jurisdiction.
Once again, according to what you've heard.
According to what I have heard.
And so,
and if those who are planning it are hearing this, what we should tell them is that no matter how much they continue to, but what is happening is actually a confirmation of what Dele Farotimi has said, that there are some people in this country who have taken Nigerian states into their pocket. It's state capture. And they have the police, they have the courts, they have the army under their control, but they're private citizens.
Right.
And they can do and undo against anyone. That is what is happening.
You made something very clear here, which is a conversation about the bail conditions and the media gag. But you also said that Ekiti State does not have defamation and libel as a criminal offense in the laws of that state. Yeah. Your response?
Yeah, incidentally, I'm from that state. Do you understand?
I knew you were.
And incidentally, too, I'm a member of Judicial Service Commission.
Okay, so is it correct?
Responsible for the appointment of judges in my state.
Okay.
Now, what I can say very well is very correct. You understand? I too have problem with the bail that they granted. In fact, the tune of the bail, I don't think any magistrate court in Nigeria has jurisdiction up to the point of receive 500,000, how many million, you know, understand? The jurisdiction of it, even in Lagos, I think it's about 10 million, the highest jurisdiction, and Lagos leads while other states follow. Do you understand? When you talk of anything, not only judiciary, the development we have today in anything started from Lagos or must have started from Lagos. Now, but then the area that I'm looking at, I'm still going to that. You know, I say we have to look at it from this one. I have a lot of problems with even the thing. It's not looking like prosecution. It's more or less looking like persecution now. Do you understand? You know why? If you are charging in different states, you understand? But people don't know. Some of those, there are some civil suits, you know, that are arisen out of this. There is a criminal suit that are arisen also. Now, you are making it to look like, oh, we are not even interested in this, we want to punish you. That's what you are making it to look like. But when we look at the whole thing, let me tell you, I'm a lawyer. I will not be a party to stay and say, oh, this is judicial. When the court has spoken, we have to be very careful. Judicial terrorism is not a very pleasant word to use against any of the court. Let me tell you, all these things happen. My friend talked about other jurisdiction too. Fine, I will go there. Yeah, in America, there's what they call, there's the case of O.J. Simpson and the people. It's one of the most popular and most celebrated cases in the world. It got to a stage, everybody knew, everybody believed reasonably that that man was the one who killed the wife and the lover of the wife. Circumstantial evidence and all that one, you know, convincing one. But the jury system, the judicial system set him free. America nearly got, you know, nearly caught fire. It got to a stage the American president had to come out and say, please, whether we like it or not, our court has spoken. Whether you like the judgment or you don't like the judgment, you must just obey it. Yeah, do you understand? Let me tell you, even in America, that we say they operate the most complicated, complex, or the most advanced democracy. That's what they call Bill of Attainder. Bill of Attainder is a law that will be made only to guide only you that, oh, Kabiru Atumolu must not speak in public again, or he must not go to school again. The law will not guide anybody. There is no jurisprudence in the world that recognizes a bill of attainder. Does it mean they are not running democracy? Now, as a lawyer, ask anybody, those who know how I practice, I have had cause to challenge judges that, my lord, you are biased. I will tell him right there. There are procedures for this kind of things. It's not that all the judges have appeared before were angels. It's not the judges but I will say, my lord, with what you have done, please disqualify yourself. It will be before the court.
Did you notice something that Kabea said? You made a reference and you used America as a
case study.
Yes. Now in America, the judiciary, whether you like it or not, is absolutely very separate from
Nigeria.
The governance.
Yes.
If the president says something, it's totally not influenced. It doesn't influence the judiciary.
Yes.
And vice versa.
Very well.
In Nigeria, can the same be said?
It cannot be said. My brother, it cannot be said. You know what? We are, to me, I have agreed, you know, with myself. I have argued it within myself, and I have convinced myself, and I believe nobody can convince me otherwise, that we are in a democracy. We are not in democracy, we are in civil rule. The only difference between this government or what we are running from 1999, 25 years till now, is that nobody somebody ruling us is wearing uniform. All the paraphernalia of all the structures of democracy are not there. All the ideas of democracy are not there. The equality of what we call rule of law encompasses three things: equality before the law, supremacy of the constitution, impartiality of the thing. Now, all they are not there. Just like he has said, some people are higher than the law. That is the truth. So, but then we must not further, destroy that institution. Let us tell them some of the things that were done, but when they have spoken, we have to keep quiet until the last court has spoken. Because Dele Farotimi is not the first one to raise this allegation. In the case of Ibori, there's one guy, Odiri. Odiri is a lawyer. The matter, I think, was reported in part 1300 or part 1100 of the Nigeria Globe. He said the Supreme Court have collected money, they have collected so this and that. They say, oh yeah, come and prove. Because when you are raising this allegation, it takes a lot. You must be able to say the account number, the name of their bank, the day they paid the money, the amount they paid, who brought the money, and so on and so forth. If you cannot say the Dele Farotimi, we have it very, very tough.
Let me quote you here, right? Because another conversation we need to have, as you reeled out the three principles when it comes to a democracy, is the rule of law.
Yeah.
Nobody is everyone, equality before the law,
yes,
and the independence of the judiciary.
Yeah.
I must also talk about the media, which is the fourth estate, which
yes,
is very responsible, which is very instrumental and crucial to our system. Yes. With a media ban on Dele Farotimi, what do you think is the reasoning behind that ruling?
Well, you see, when I can, as a private citizen, like my brother is too, he can sue me that, oh, you said something that is against my person, and I'm challenging it in court. He can sue me. If he has sued me before the court, the first step the court should do, you have alleged that, oh, he has defamed you. The first thing the court will do is, if he makes a prayer again, that I should stop any further publication about that aspect of his reputation, the court will grant the order, pending the time they will listen to the case, so that the name will not damage further. It's not that they have given a verdict, it's an interim order. Do you understand? In the case of Mr. Falana against VDM, in the case of Falani against VDM, the court granted it. For now, he should not issue any statement that is defamatory of these people until the court has determined it. That is so in every jurisdiction.
So I mean, I'm not learned in this situation. Yes. I don't know. If Dele Farotimi were to have an issue now, is out, and God forbid anything happens to him, if he's out moving about, something happens, he's abducted, or anything happens, whether it's safety or bodily harm, he cannot speak to the press?
No, why not? That's another issue. Do you understand? And like my friend has just said, that they are planning. I have not heard of that rumor, but it's not impossible, and the possibility is even like 99%. Why? Because there is already a pending suit or charge against him in another court. So these are the things. And again, the press you mentioned, my sister, the press is a very sad story. We are enjoying this civil route today because of press, because of the sacrifices the press has made. But the day allow the press to function in Nigeria.
Yeah, just a second, because we're pressed for time. So wait till your final remarks, because we're going to react here.
I have a little disagreement. I'm not a lawyer again, let me state.
All right.
But I know,
not final, you will continue.
But you will continue, yeah.
Go ahead.
But I know that normally, in the normal judicial process, everybody who is before a court has no right to speak of that case before the court. That is already there in the judicial processes. This ban is completely different. The ban on Dele Farotimi, the ban on the urban governance activists from Ogo is completely different. It's to completely make them incapable of even speaking about issues surrounding how they have been treated in the course of the case. It means that Dele Farotimi now cannot speak about how he was abducted in Lagos State.
No, he can't. He can't.
That is the meaning of this.
No.
Don't forget that Khalid Aminu in Kaduna, who after he was released by DSS, and then went on Twitter to speak about how he was tortured, is now being sued by the DSS for speaking about it. Adaramoye Makeleni and the 10 others have equally been restrained from speaking to the media. So this ban, because what we are talking about is that
is a stifling of dissent?
It's a stifling of even talking about what you have experienced. Because normally, judicial processes already makes it clear to anybody before a court that you cannot speak on that case, but it's still pending before a court. And Dele Farotimi is a lawyer. He's not going to violate that, even without, this new ban. This ban is completely different. This ban is to make it impossible for him to speak about how he has been treated, how he was abducted. And that's why we must oppose it.
Talking about treatment, I'm hoping that I can continue.
Because they didn't say very clearly as to what you could say. They say you must not speak to the media. That's what.
Do you want to compare this to any other high-profile case that currently is on ground? For instance, the Yahya Bello case and how he's been treated in comparison to how Dele Farotimi.
Yahya Bello is not on trial, is he?
He's on trial.
He's not on trial. Is that a trial?
He means
trial.
that euphemistically.
He's a charge.
That's not a trial.
What he means is
The guy is enjoying himself. That's not a trial.
He was
That's not how they were taken to court. Dele Farotimi was handcuffed.
I'm glad you're
There's no
saying
rule of
this,
law in
right?
this
Because
country.
I have to ask you, Kabir, right? You made a statement. You said that the 30 million naira bill is at this point points
It's
to
beyond the
prosecution.
jurisdiction of the magistrate court,
And
to
so
my understanding
now
of the
with
law.
this case of him being handcuffed, what's your reaction to that scene of him being handcuffed?
You
like
see?
it's
He's
one
a
that's
common
on
criminal.
charges.
You see,
Yeah.
let me tell you, the issue of handcuff or no handcuff, you understand, is at the discretion of the arresting officer, which nobody can, can punish the officer for. It is a discretion given to him. And under the law, exercise of discretion. In fact, if you come to court and say, for instance, you have to file something within 7 days in court, for instance, you couldn't file within 7 days, you have now brought application for extension of time. You give reasons. He may come and they grant him, and they may not grant me. It's exercise of judicial discretion. And you cannot use it. The law is that you can't use one case to determine the other one because the facts may be different. Now, let me tell you, as a police officer, if nobody has the right to beat you if they are arresting you, or to even manhandle you, you are under arrest, you follow him. But in Nigeria, what do you see? That is the case. When you do otherwise, except you can prove, then there won't be. But when you are handcuffed, except you resist arrest. And I don't want to think that Dele Farotimi, be who he is, or be who I know he is, could not have said, don't arrest me. And he couldn't have even protested. But it might be, we want to disgrace him. You understand? These are the things. But there's no rule of law in Nigeria. We must get it very clear. There is no rule of law anywhere in Nigeria in whatever form. That is the truth of the matter. And it's getting worse by the day. As at May 2015, the damages against Nigeria police is over 28 billion naira for violation of people's human rights. I have not followed what it is today. It's in the youth, this world. You will know what I'm talking about. Since that time, it will have tripled. You understand? They are not even paying. You even get judgment against, like the Abakari of the other time. I started fighting Abakari for human rights violations in 2014. I got judgment of 48 million naira against him for my client. Nobody could enforce it. I took him to inside panel. They absorbed him. So the system is shielding him until when God said it's enough. So this is what you see. At the end of the day, Rotimi will have his day in court. When you look at the whole thing, it's not going to be more than all this, what I can call media trial. It's not going to be more than all this, what they call IGG, initial gra-gra. At the end of the day, nothing will happen. But the only thing I know, Afe Babalola, whoever has, they have personal right to sue him for defamation and claim damages. Do you understand? That's the only thing. But when you talk of criminal libel, instead they go to the north to sue him.
Just a second, Soweto, I'm wondering what a concluding side of this story could be, what it could mean for advocacy, what it could mean for freedom of speech. I'm expecting two different answers from both of you gentlemen, although Kabir has this very way of balancing in between.
Yeah, it's very good at that. One leg in, one leg out.
It's a very good dancer. But what do you think this means for dissent? What do you think it means for speaking out?
Advocacy,
what do you think it means for
CSOs.
journalists? What do you think it means for human rights activists?
The other time I was here, speaking about Dele Farotimi, I said that what is happening to Dele Farotimi is a twin of what happened in August. The way the Nigerian government was able to convert the right to freedom of protest, convert it to treason, to something treasonable. That has been done successfully now. It means that anybody who wants to organize and protest in this country now has to be prepared to stand trial for treason. What they want to do through Dele Farotimi is also to make freedom of speech
under any
something that can earn you
platform
criminal trial. Because it's a different thing entirely. If I say something to you that damages your reputation, all you can do to me is to sue me. It's a different thing entirely. But if you can commit me to prison, then it's a different, that's a different ball game. And that would have a riveting implication on everyone, not just those of us who are fighting. But even journalists are likely going to have their right to be able to speak truth to power, to be able to say certain things, because there's a question of what are our roles in society. I'm an activist, so it means that when I see something, I say it. A journalist also has the same obligation, because you are seeking the truth. What they are saying now is that whether what you are saying is true or not, when you say something that affects somebody in society who is highly placed or who is a government official, then you can be tried. Not that you can be sued, but you can be tried and you can be committed to prison. And that means ultimately, because these are the twin pillars of civil rule: freedom of expression, the right to organize and challenge authorities and the status quo.
So I apologize, but we have run out of time, and I want his response to that part.
Well, shortly, just like he said, that when they grant the pay conditions and are not to speak to the press, it does not mean that he cannot talk about how they have tortured him. He can always say that the DSS that sued that person, they are wrong. He will get his day in court and he will get the damages against them. The implication is this: it will have serious impact on the freedom of the people, in the sense that, especially the press, they may be afraid to report one or two things. Unfortunately, the military has so killed the morale of the pressmen that they can no longer function the way they used to be when there was terror, when there was news magazine, when there was this and that and all. So it is not a good thing for them. People must be able to speak, their mind. They must be able to challenge the government. In fact, during that protest of this thing, I did so many things, at least 3 or 4 national newspapers and the rest of them, that the right to protest against bad government is a constitutional right. So nobody can say don't talk. But the problem we have is only one thing. That is still underlying the fact that we are not in democracy. You know why? Yeah, you know why? Most of our laws, they are cake. They were imposed on us by the colonial masters. Some of the criminal defamation is one of them. They are the provisions of the law made for the purpose of guiding the interests of the colonial masters, which we have not been able to remove from our law. This is just the truth of the matter. But in a sane society, I think people should be free to express their mind.
In a sane society like ours, when you see a case like Dele Farotimi and a 30 million naira bill posted and a media ban, it begs to ask the question whether or not there's a set precedence for the future of dissent, for the future of opposition, and for the future of speaking truth to power. Kabir, you have
again, in fact, in the case of, I think, Bello and the state, the Supreme Court said, bail is not aimed at freeing the accused person, but it is aimed at making him to be able to answer the cases against him. When you give him bail, there is a case where the Court of Appeal said, giving bail to somebody by the right hand and removing him from the left hand is not justified. And one of the instances is when you made the conditions to be too stringent. I addressed a public something somewhere in Ministry of Justice. As I say, I addressed the lawyers. I said, come, the Commissioner for Justice was there. When you give me a bail, I'm an Hausa man from Sokoto, I've been charged from stealing in Lagos. You said a chief must be one of the surety. I must get through surety, and one must be related by blood. Will I bring my brother from Sokoto to come and stand surety for me? It doesn't make sense. And this is what we get from our court. They will say, oh, somebody must be a chief. In the case of one person that defamed criminal libel too in Ilorin, one traditionalist that defamed from Afa and the left, they said one of the surety must be related by blood. This man is not from Ilorin. He's not from Kwara State. They said one must be a chief. Which chief will come and stand for somebody who has been charged with criminality? And our court continue to make this, it is not good. Bail conditions should be very simple and not too stringent.
Soweto, you have your final say, final floor.
Well, I mean, away from the law and everything, what we are talking about is a society that is clearly going backwards. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we have seen reversals in every sphere of our life. We are talking about democratic right now, but what about even the right to life? You know, yesterday we witnessed the death of, tens of Nigerian people, hungry Nigerians. Yeah. And right now, we are also talking about how the whole quality of life itself has gone down because of the anti-poor policies of this government. So at the end of the day, the whole implication of Dele Farotimi trial is actually to make it impossible for Nigerians to be able to challenge those who are ruining our lives. And I think that at some point, we'd all have to stand up and say enough is enough. Whether you commit all of us to prison or not does not matter. We are going to fight. Nigerian people must rise up. We must not allow all of this to hold us down. I think that what we have today, which we call civil rule, is actually just a smokescreen for the capitalist exploitation of the Nigerian people. I think we need a revolution in this country that changes the character of governance, that puts in place a socialist government that can ensure that the resources of this country is made, to be utilized for the benefit of all. Where Nigerians are okay, where we have freedom, where we have right to education, all of that, it means that there will be very little, in terms of crisis, that will now lead to this erosion of democratic right that we're talking about. So for me, that is the way forward. Nigerian people must rise up and fight.
Now, I'd like to note that these are the opinions of Hassan Soweto, right here from our studios on Breakfast Extra. I want to say thank you very much, Hassan and Kabir, for coming and having this very robust conversation about the Dele Farotimi case and the, in quote, gag that seems to have been placed on him. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, thank you.